JavaScript find, filter, and map methods. Now, they're really simple. They're almost exactly the same as a for each method, whether it's find or filter or map. They all work exactly the same way as for each. They're all looping over things in an array. But the only difference is those last three give us back a new array. So this might be like a new users array. So that's the only difference. And we're going to look at specifically what's different about each one and why they're useful. So I think the easiest one to understand is the .find method, which is, I think, pretty easy to wrap our heads around. To use it, we just type .find, and it works the same exact way as the for each method. So you might remember the for each method. When it's looping, it takes a function that it's going to do for each one of the users. And I'm just going to cut that and paste it in here, because find works exactly the same way. So this is going to give us a user, and the reason why find is useful is because find, like you may have guessed, lets us find a user in the array, or lets us find something in the array. Here we have user, so it's going to let us find a user in the array. So right now we only have one user, so let's just add one more, and we'll call this one Jamie Jameston. I don't know if that's a real last name, but we're going to use it. And let's say that they are 17. Yeah, so now we have two things in our users array, but we want to find one of the users, right? Either John or Jamie. We'll just try finding one of them. And to be able to find them, all we need to do is just give find something that's either true or false about the user. So for example, we can search for only the users where their first name is equal to Jamie. So we can just check if the user.firstname is first name, capital N, first name is equal to Jamie. And this is going to be true for Jamie, but it's obviously not going to be true for John because John's first name is not Jamie. So this should give us back the user. So I'm just going to save this in a variable. I'll just call it user, and let's take a look at that. I'll log it out to the screen, and hopefully this gives us back just Jamie, and it does. Great. Yes. So here we see Jamie is the user that we've gotten back because their first name is Jamie. So we could check for first name or, their age, where their age is, let's see, 15. That should be John. And sure enough, yep, we get John because his age is equal to 15. So that's how find works. Pretty simple. It just lets us find one of the things in an array. But what if we wanted to find more than just one user? Well, that's what filter is for. It lets us find all the users that match this. So let's try making one more user here, and we'll just say this user's name is Shayna and their last name is Smith. Sure. And their age, we'll make it 18. So now, since we're using filter, we can get more than one user back, right? So let's just try, instead of just checking for where the age is exactly 15, let's say we want to check where the user's age is 16 or more. So I'll just type in where the user.age is greater than or equal to 16. So we're finding all the users where that's true and filtering out the users where it's false. And just because it's giving us back more than one user, I'm just going to call this filtered users so we don't get confused. All right, so taking a look now, we see, yep, we get back a new array, and there are two things inside of it. There's Jamie and Shayna because they both have ages that are greater than or equal to 16. But John up here is only 15 years old, so this is not true for him. So pretty simple. Filter lets us get more than one thing in an array. Nice. So that's pretty straightforward. Last thing is map. And find and filter let us find or search for things in an array, but map lets us change things in an array. So it lets us do that by just making a copy of each thing and then making any changes we want. So super simple to make a copy. Just make a new variable and call it copy of user and just set it equal to user. That's it. So now we've made a copy of the user. Just put it in this variable, copy of user. So now we can make any change we want to this user. So let's just try doing something like adding a new property. Like let's add a property that just says if this user is an adult, and that's gonna be either true or false, right? I mean, for John, obviously he's not 18 yet, so that's gonna be false for him. And for Jamie, they are 17, so it's still gonna be false for them. But Shayna is 18, so that'll be true, right? So that's what we're gonna try to add as our change in our map method. So let's try that down here. For our copy of user, all we have to do is just add a new property, right? So the one we want to add is adult. That's what we'll call our new property. And we'll set that to either true or false, right? We just want to check if the user's age is greater or equal to 18, because then they're an adult, right? So let's just try that down here. I'll just type user.age is greater than or equal to 18. And now we're done. So now we can just give our new changes that we made back to our map method. So we'll just type return copy of user, because that has our new changes on it, right? So that's it. Now we're done. And map is going to give us back a new array. And because we're not filtering anymore, I'll just call this new array with changes. New changed users. Yes, sure, that's a good name. So let's save and take a look at that, and take a look at each one of our users, and hey, look at that. So John now has a new property called is adult, and it's false. That's what we wanted. Because he's 15 years old. And Jamie also has a new property is adult, and it's false because Jamie is also less than 18. But Shayna is 18, and it says that she is an adult, because that's true. Nice. So that's what map does. It just lets us make a copy of each thing and then make some changes. So of course we can actually add any number of changes we wanted here. So let's say we could do copy of new user and add a new property like their full name all together. So I'll set that equal to, let's see, user.first name, and then I'll do plus user.last name. And when we take a look at it now, hey, we got a new property that says full name, John Johnston, for John, Jamie Jamieston for Jamie, and Shayna Smith for Shayna. Now, granted, there's no space in between, so we could add a space here. Like I'll just add a string and add a space in between. And now, sure enough, there we go. Our full name is all there: John Johnston, Jamie Jamieston, and Shayna Smith. Yeah, so that's how find, filter, and map methods work in JavaScript. They're pretty simple. They work just like for each, where it just loops over each thing. Find lets you find one, filter lets you find multiple things, and map lets you make changes. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Sure, it might help to play around with it and see what kind of changes you can make, but hopefully that was helpful. And if you'd like to support and allow me the time to think of ways to help others feel less intimidated by tech, feel free to check out my link below to my Patreon. And as always, may the odds be ever in your favor and the snacks be ever in your bag.